Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Hi, I'm Chuck Blakeman, and welcome to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. Thank you for trusting us with your valuable time. My true desire is for this podcast to become a go-to for you to find clarity, hope, and risk. We want to bring clarity on how to build a successful business and how to use that success to build your ideal lifestyle in support of your lifetime goals. Clarity always brings grounded hope, and hope allows us to take measured risks we might not otherwise take. I desire for you to have the grounded hope to take the courageous, measured risk to build a great business that serves you instead of you serving it. A lot of people have told me that some of the principles we share with business owners are things they've never heard before. Allow me to set the record straight. I'm not sure I've ever had an original thought in my life, but I'm okay with that because I'm pretty sure you haven't either. Picasso once said, "Good artists plagiarize, great artists steal." He didn't mean that he should steal fresh narratives like actual paintings, but he learned his painting principles, techniques, tools, skills. He learned all of that from being a student of everyone who came before him. So my belief is there's really nothing new under the sun. And when I hear people claiming they have an amazing new way of doing something that no one has ever thought of, it usually turns out to be marketing. Our tools and even some of our methodology are unique paintings. But we got here just the same way Picasso did, by building on everyone who came before us. So my trust is that the new narrative of this podcast, built on old truths, will bring some long forgotten ideas back to life that work for you in the trenches of your business. This podcast is not intended to educate you. I'm not a big fan of education. I get more excited about learning. The difference is simple for me. Education packs information in my head, and learning transforms the way I do things. In other words, education is knowledge-based, learning is transformational. The Get Off the Treadmill podcast was not dreamed up in an ivory tower to pack theories and concepts into your head. You got way too much of that already. I discovered and rediscovered the principles, practices, and tools we share in this podcast many times over in the process of starting, growing, and building 13 businesses in 10 industries on 4 continents. And we've continued to learn them, helping other business owners do the same. Our clients and I are all using everything we share here to build businesses with passion that we can enjoy for decades. I trust that the Get Off the Treadmill podcast will not become a time filler for you, but a regularly visited reference for your business. As I started on my own journey to freedom in my business, not from it, very important distinction, one of the biggest discoveries of old truths for me was that a business is supposed to throw off 2 resources, time and money. And with both of those, we can pursue significance with our full attention. But for some reason, we only expect our businesses to give us one of those 2 resources, money. And because we focus on just making money, our business never gives back time or helps us have a significant impact in the world around us. We're just too often too busy making money to get to the important stuff. That's why I named my first book, Making Money is Killing Your Business. So as a result, we've got everything backwards. We build a business using what I call the random hope strategy of business, which goes something like this. I'm going to work really hard, and I'm going to make me some money, and I hope it all works out. Because we really didn't intend for the business to serve us. We too often settle for whatever random lifestyle the business happens to throw off. At best, that usually involves having money, but rarely a lot of time, and almost never significance. This isn't surprising, because the person who makes the rules wins, and too often the only rule we make is to let our business and the world around us make the rules. The Get Off the Treadmill podcast was developed to help us take hold of our business and remake the rules in our favor so that our business finally becomes our servant to do our bidding, not the other way around. To get there, this podcast is focused on 3 big ideas. Big idea number 1 is the 4 building blocks of every business: lifetime goals, strategic planning, freedom mapping, and outside eyes. We didn't make these up in an ivory tower. They came to us from years of working with business owners to find out what they actually need and what I needed and still need. You'll learn all about these 4 building blocks as you journey with us. Big idea number 2 is that small business sales and marketing is completely different than what the giant corporations and the giant books are trying to teach us to do. Just about everything we've learned from them in the way of marketing and sales is not just unuseful, it's hurtful. It more often sends us on a wild goose chase that costs us time and money that we can't afford to throw around like they do. We will teach you how to stop spending big bucks on marketing and how to get off the sales treadmill once and for all. Having built all those businesses and worked with so many business owners, I've learned that just about none of us went into business so we could sell something. We won't teach you to be a better salesperson. We will show you how to approach marketing and sales in a way that worked long before giant factories and giant businesses were invented and are trying to change the way you do business. Let's get you off the sales treadmill. And big idea number 3 is the emerging work world of the participation age, is what we call it. That great business at its core is not transactional like the giant corporations have all taught us, but that it is deeply relational at every level. We'll show you how to rehumanize your workplace, give everybody their brain back, and stop following the factory system imposed hierarchy model that almost all businesses are still flogging to death. As a small business owner, you and I know we can't afford anything less than 100% engagement from everybody in our business. We commit to show you how thousands of businesses are turning their backs on the traditional operating system of that top-down decision-making hierarchy and creating businesses that people are climbing the walls to become part of. So how should you approach listening to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast? I've learned from my own experience that for the most part, adults don't learn unless we're disoriented from our settled in, frankly, sometimes very stale view of reality. It is my intention that this podcast will also challenge your understanding of conventional business wisdom and reintroduce you to some long forgotten central ideas and practices from before factories existed. Along with being disoriented, I would also ask you to be intentional. You'll hear the following statement from me a lot because it's worked for me and thousands of others. You get what you intend, not what you hope for. What do we intend from our businesses? Most business owners think that their purpose in business is to make money. Surprisingly, it is not. The owner's purpose is not to make money, but to build a business that makes money. These two things are worlds apart, and almost every business owner I encounter is absolutely buried in trying to make money, which keeps them, frankly, from ever making a lot of it. Our intentions are so important in business and in life. Maybe my wife Diane and I are weird, but from the beginning we thought of them not just as kids, but as adults in the making. We were very aware and are to this day that at some point the great amount of personal time, emotion, and money invested in guiding our kids would eventually grow into a more of a two-way street. We intended that as adults, we could all give back to each other, help each other, find significance with our lives, and simply enjoy each other for decades. And we got what we intended. Great adult kids who are making their own contributions in the world and are just plain fun to be around. Well, I think we should intend for our businesses to grow up too. I don't mean it would be nice if it happened. I mean, we should all, every one of us, intend and frankly expect our businesses to grow up and start giving back to us and to the world around us. We should assume that at some point our businesses will move from survival right through success to providing the foundation of a significant life for us. Nobody would argue with me that we should intend for our children to grow up, leave home, become grown-ups we can enjoy for decades. But when was the last time we had that conversation with our business? It's normal for children to grow up, so why isn't it normal for businesses to do the same? Frankly, we're in charge of both of them. And if you've had kids, you'll know that you've got more control over how your business turns out than how your kids turned out. And yet most businesses never grow up. We spend decades changing the diapers in our businesses and reporting to the vice principal's office on a regular basis to get our business out of detention. 20 years after we print a business card, we seem to be spending as much time, emotion, and money on our business as the day it was born. Why would we so eagerly anticipate the maturity of our children and never expect the same for our business? Shouldn't we be able to expect to enjoy a mature business for decades as well? I believe the root of this problem is that having a conventional view of business isn't ever going to allow us to bring it to maturity. Our focus is on trying to make money is the very thing that is keeping us from being successful. You're just too busy making money, and no business can survive that. It's not a play on words. I've experienced it. It's a serious problem. You're simply too busy trying to make money, or even worse, trying to and not doing so. Either one prevents you from making as much as you could, and most likely, it is stopping you from building a business that will ever grow up. If you want a mature business you can enjoy for decades and that makes money while you're on vacation or when you're not there on Friday, you might need a new view of business to get there. You might just need to regain the perspective you had the day the business was born in order to get back the passion that brought you into business in the first place. Either way, it's likely you'll have to do what I call, sort of a mental surgery procedure, a businessectomy on both your thinking and your processes to get freedom in your business. For years, your business probably has trained you to focus on making money and other unproductive distractions. And unfortunately, when you look at other businesses, you see that most of them are focused on making money too. But average businesses all set a bad example for us. They're dangerously following each other like lemmings toward the money-making cliff. And I've learned lemmings, in fact, don't voluntarily jump into the water and drown. But like many business owners, they take their cues from those around them and assume that, well, it must be normal to at least hang around the cliff just because everybody else is doing it. The point is, it's not normal to have a business that never grows up. It is clearly average. Everybody's doing it, but it is definitely not normal. We'll discover what is normal throughout this podcast. We will regularly give feedback and get feedback that what we're sharing is very counterintuitive, but it's actually not. It's counterlogical, but very intuitive. I believe you'll find yourself leaning in intuitively to understand that the very things you need to move from average to normal will probably cut deeply into your idea of how business is run. So let's start the businessectomy. Let the healing begin. I look forward to your regular feedback on this podcast and other tools we offer that might be helpful to you. And as we grow together, I'm going to learn from you as well. That is my intention for me. That is my intention for you, that you will have a relentless curiosity. And remember, you get what you intend, not what you hope for. So let's stay disoriented and let's set our intention for listening and learning, and let's do it together. Thanks.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.